Aloha artists, Miss Maggie here. Today we are going to go on a nature walk and find some interesting natural objects that you can draw. We will be doing contour drawing, but first we need to find the things we're going to draw. Go outdoors. In your yard is just fine. Maybe you go for a neighborhood walk somewhere that is safe and okay with your family. Go outside and look closely for objects that are natural and have interesting shapes and lines. Look for things that would be neat to draw. Notice the lines and the shapes that make them up. Look for objects that contrast each other in their shape or in the types of lines that are in them. Look for objects that would look different when drawn next to each other, but objects also small enough to fit in your hand. Objects that you can bring inside to do our contour drawing project. And also, just enjoy the breeze. Enjoy the warm sun and take it in. I can't wait to see what beautiful objects you bring in for contour drawing. These are the supplies that you're going to want for today's project. You are going to want 2 drawing papers. The small size is great. Remember, this is the smooth, lighter paper from your art pack. You're going to want a pencil, but even before you have that pencil, you're going to want a marker. It can be any color, but one of the darker colors is better. And of course, you're going to want your objects from outside, whatever those were. So, go get your supplies, and then we'll begin our contour drawing. What is contour drawing? Contour drawing is when we look at an object really closely and we draw the outside edges and the most important lines. That is how we can train our eye to really notice what we are looking at. Because here's the thing. Sometimes our eye and our brain thinks it knows everything, but this is not a flower, and this is not really a leaf. We can look closer and really identify the details that make up that object. We are going to do a contour drawing challenge to warm up. This is like running a lap and doing some drills before your big soccer game, or doing your scales before you perform your piece. You want to get your muscles strong. Those muscles we're using today are in your hand and in your mind. I'm curious to find out what objects you found on your walk. Let's see what sort of combinations we can come up with that will show contrast. I might do this green lilikoi and this curly leaf. Or I might do this interesting leaf and this from a pine tree. Or, I might do my flower. Started to close up, but it's still beautiful. And this fern here. Perhaps I will do the 2 of those. All of these ideas contrast each other in interesting ways. What 2 objects are you going to draw? And when you do the contour drawing challenge, it has 4 levels. These 4 levels bring you all the way up to drawing. Level 1 is our finger contour. I am going to use this tool here to notice all the outside edges and the most important lines that are inside my 2 objects. I'm going to train my eye to notice as much as possible. I am going to follow those lines with my finger and see what sort of interesting interesting things happen. Notice when one line disappears behind another because they overlap. Notice the curves that go around and around. Notice what makes yours interesting. You do your finger contour right now as well. Remember to spend time with both your objects. Let them just sit on your table without moving and see what you can see from the angle that you're looking at them from. I see so many interesting lines in this flower. I'm really getting to know this one-of-a-kind flower here. It's not like any other. And this fern is so delicate and interesting. Keep noticing, keep tracing. Find those lines in both your objects. Really are connecting neurons in your brain that are going to make you better at drawing. Congratulations, you have done level 1 of our contour drawing challenge. Next, we move on to level 2. Did you find a lot of lines? Interesting how much you notice, huh? Now, we're going to move on to contour drawing challenge number 2. The second challenge is eye contour. You're going to do the same thing as before, but this time take your finger, put it behind your back. Remember, this is a warm-up. We are training our eyes and our mind for when we draw for real. So now, I'm going to look at my object and I'm going to follow the lines that I see as if I'm pointing at them, but I'm just going to use my eyeballs to trace instead. You try this right now as well. Use your eyes like a laser pointer, following the outside edges and the most important lines of your object that you found. All those lines that you pointed at with your finger in level 1, now you're using your eyeballs like a laser following them. For me, it's the edges of the petals. I'm following those with my eyes, and the stamen there, and those little wrinkles inside each petal, and the stem. I'm looking at all of those details and training my eye to look closely and notice exactly how they go. And over time, as you build these neurons, your final contour drawings will show that you have been working hard, that you have been doing these exercises, and the results will show. How did that go? Did you notice any new details? Take a deep breath and relax for a moment. Level 2 is challenging if you really do it. Next, we have contour drawing level 3. For level 3, you do want your paper, and you're going to want a marker, and you'll want one of your 2 objects. And you might want a little piece of tape, because what I'm going to do is a blind contour, and watch how I do this before you do it. I am going to have my marker, not the pencil, my marker in my hand. I'm going to put my hand on the paper. I'm going to take my object in my hand that doesn't hold the marker and turn around in my chair, and I'm going to hold the object here. And now, just like I did for level 2, my eyes are going to trace the lines that I see, and my pen is going to draw what I'm seeing. Remember, this is just a warm-up. I am going to see what I can do to notice as much as possible. What I draw, it's not going to look good. It's going to look kind of wild. And remember, like this is one of my paintings. I'm a professional artist. And so if my contour drawing looks like scribbles, yours is going to as well. Let's see how well I can do this. Make sure I'm on the paper. Make sure I have this here. I cannot look at my paper. And I cannot lift my pen. No looking, no lifting. I'm doing those little balls at the end. Going back down the other end of the pistol. So many little lines there. It's fun following them all. But I haven't even gotten to the petals yet. And I don't know where my end spot is, but that's all right to find the best as I can. Ooh, I'm going to do this petal here. I'm going to go slowly. And back down like this. I'm going to do the petal that goes behind the pistil. But I need to go back that way and behind. And that one there. How am I doing? You know better than I do right now. I don't actually know how I'm doing, but I know that I am focusing, that I am looking really closely at this flower, that I'm really noticing how those petals move and how they overlap and how they all come from the center, and that there's lines in the middle of the petal too, that petals have veins too, not just leaves. I'm going to call that done. That was all the flower that I could see. And now I'm going to look. Oh my goodness. Does that look like that? No, it doesn't. However, I looked closely and this was my warm-up. Now that I've done this, I have noticed so much more, and I have gotten my brain and my hand all connected. All those neurons are firing, and my real level 4 contour drawing is going to rock it. So now you set up for your contour drawing. Remember, if you have a piece of tape that's helpful, put it down on the table, hold your marker in one hand. Put it on the paper. Take your object in your other hand. Have it turn around in your seat so you're looking at it behind you, and so it's not easy to see your paper. And then you are going to do your contour drawing. Begin. Remember, no lifting your pen, no looking at your paper. You've got this. Done right about now. Take another moment if you need. What do you think? How'd it turn out? Pretty wild, huh? Congratulations, artists. You are on to level 4. Contour drawing, here we come. On the back of your blind contour drawing, let's do level 4. So, How are we going to do this? I have my objects here and I'm setting them up in an interesting way, some way that I think would be neat to draw. I can try out a couple different ways. I think something where I can see into the flower might be nice. I'm trying to decide. Maybe like that. I am still going to be using my Crayola marker because we are not erasing. You can lift up your pens. You can look at your objects as much as you want. Once you have them set, don't touch them though. And we are still looking for the outside edges and the most important lines, and find those with your marker. Let's see what we've got. I'm going to start up here on the stem of my flower. Wow, I love the little pointy leaves there. See how I can lift up my pen? I can't erase, but I can do all sorts of interesting things. And remember, this is still practice. If you have some lines that don't go where you want to, this isn't our final piece. We're going to do one more that we will use pencil on. This is to pull everything together that we've been doing. And I'm finding this curvy line of this petal that comes down. And I see that this other petal comes out from there. And I think it kind of goes down into there. Figuring it out. This is a harder one than I thought it was. But I'm finding some beautiful things. And I can see that this part comes out 3, 4, 5, and they all come to the center. They're kind of coming straight at me. And so I've got those, and then I've got this petal coming down. Ooh, it has some great wiggles. And it comes down like that. And then this one comes around like that. And oh, I see the next petal. It's sort of flat, but it ripples over and hides under there. And I did a lot of the outside edges, but I see some of the lines that are on the inside too. I am finding all of those lines as well. And of course, I still have the fern. Oh, wow. I've got that line going up the center. Now, let's see what I can do here with all of its little leaves. They go back and forth, and they sort of have their own little shape. And it changes as it goes, doesn't it? I'm not getting it exact, but I am noticing so much by doing this. Interesting. They're getting skinnier there. And ooh, these ones are changing angle actually. They're coming higher up. I'm going to work on this side for now. So I can see that they are going up, 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 up. And these ones are laying flat, 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 but they seem to be getting skinnier. They're flopping up on each other. Interesting. So there is my contour drawing of my contrasting objects. My ruffly flower and my skinny fern. There we go. How did yours turn out? Oh, now it is time for our final drawing. Take that other sheet of paper that you have, and guess what? You can use your pencil now, and you can draw the same two contrasting objects, or you could mix it up. Maybe you're a little tired of the ones that you chose to begin with, or maybe you're just getting the feel for them and you want to really get them this time. Whichever you feel, go for it. And if you really did like the marker, you can stay with that too. I might just try a different angle. I'm gonna go like that. So, oh wow, this first leaf, you know what, with leaves a lot of times, I actually start with the main vein, which is one of the most important lines. And I see that down here, I've got this, so I'm going to draw mine. You draw yours. Of course, you can also watch what I'm doing, but you're still going to need to do your final drawing afterwards of your own interesting contrasting objects. This is your final drawing for today's project. See what new things you notice. I notice so many interesting lines in this leaf and so many interesting textures. I'm trying to figure out how to put those textures in. But really, this is about the most important lines that I see, because it's a contour drawing. I'm finding some of them. I think that works. Now, for this flower that's such a challenge, I remember that part. That's great. The petals are tricky still. And sometimes if something's tricky, I go back to my level 1 and trace those lines again, just to see what is happening before I make any marks on my paper. I'm gonna go with it now. And I like how it's angling this way. Start with that stem again. Wonderful when you can pick up your pencil as much as you want. It really makes life so much easier. But that practice of the blind contour, it really does so much for our brains in being able to draw better over time. Those flower petals, they're kind of running together, but I think I'm finding where they separate, and I'm putting those important lines that I see inside the petals too. Wow, even the same flower from a different angle really makes such a difference. There we go. There is my contour drawing of my contrasting objects. Now, if you want to color this, if you want to shade it, if you want to do anything more, that is up to you. You can add more to this final picture. For instance, I really want that shadow in here. That shadow's really... Now this is shading, this is not contour drawing, but it's just asking for it to me. And it's such an interesting shape. We'll do more shading on another day. But I like adding a little bit of shading sometimes. Do you notice that even though I did pencil, I didn't do any erasing? When you can keep yourself from erasing, it keeps you in the moment of creating rather than trying to fix everything. And I sometimes erase stuff too, of course. But the more drawing you do and the less erasing, the better. And I'm going to put a little shadow right there, and a little shadow right there. A couple more lines that I noticed there. There we go. Contour drawing plus a little shading because I felt like it. Now it's time for your reflection question. What inspired you to pick the objects that you chose? How do they contrast each other? How did you show off those details that you especially liked in your drawing? Remember, take a picture of your artwork so that you can share it with your teacher, with your classmates, and with me. I want to see what you create. Finally, remember, hang your artwork up somewhere. And sure, those blind contours look kind of weird, but if someone thinks that they're a little weird, have them try it out, okay? And finally, take care of your space, clean it up, and I'll see you next time for more art. A hooey ho!